And welcome back. We're gonna do listen to Meegan's testimony now, and then figure out what's wrong with it, because definitely an incompetent idiot who can't get his facts straight. His face can't be clearly seen in the video, but there's no question that the other person was Detective Goodman, sir. I mean, he opened the locker, which required Detective Goodman's fingerprint to do. Unless he stole his hand. I'm pretty sure it would have been noted if a hand was missing from the body. Locker he opened is unquestionably Detective Goodman's locker, sir. So it must be him. No one else could have unlocked it. We're not even a minute into the video and you're hitting me with the stupid megaphone. What's this about a fingerprint? Each detective has been given a locker equipped with a fingerprint-activated lock. These locks ensure that each locker can only be opened by the detective it belongs to. Intriguing. That would mean the victim at the crime scene would have to have been Detective Goodman. Very well, the defense may begin its cross-examination. I don't know where this cross-examination will lead, but everything begins with contradictions. That's where I have to start. I'm gonna start with this guide. Because I have a guide. As I've said many times before. Press. Tell me more about this. However, the most important detail is not shown in this video. The man's face. Sir, if I may say something, sir. Please do. After all, you are the one being examined. I don't understand why the man's face is so important in this case, sir. Probably because the face is easily one of the most identifying features of a person. Mr. Meekins, have you ever taken an IQ test? Was the number lower than 10? Probably. I'd be surprised if it was above 0, to be honest. I mean, it was his hand that opened the fingerprint lock. And it was his hand that tried to thrust his knife into my body, sir. Okay, yep, I'm muting the game again. My unsettled state could testify enough to this, sir. As anytime Meekins appears on the screen from now on, I'm just muting, because I don't want to deal with that. Yes, you have a point. The footage doesn't lie. That is, unless the defense can find a problem with it. Mr. Wright, let's check the court record again. Is there a problem with the security video? Yeah, there's a problem, Your Honor. Regarding the video contained on this tape, there is one thing in particular that seems rather strange. Strange? This contradiction leads to the possibility that the man may not have been Detective Goodman. What? This video contains such a contradiction. Interesting. Your Honor, I have a proposal. Yes, Mr. Edgeworth. I propose we have the defense point out to us this alleged contradiction in the video. You would want me to point it out? Yeah, of course. You know, let me figure out what I need to do ahead of time. I see what I need to do. Very well, proposal accepted. Let us further inspect this piece of evidence. I will now play the security tape. I had to unmute real quick because Meekins is no longer on the screen. Mr. Wright, please show us this contradiction you speak of. I have to point out a problem in the video? This is the first time I've ever had to do that. You can do it, Mr. Wright. It's set up so you can fast forward, rewind, or pause the video. Just take a good look and be sure to point out the right thing. Please don't play it too many times. I can't stand watching this video. Then just look away, you dumb fuck. How did this guy ever become a police officer? Thank you. Thank you. You and me, Phoenix, were on the same wavelength. Now then, Mr. Wright, please enlighten us. Where is the contradiction that indicates the man may not be Detective Goodman? Okay, so, hold on, how do I pause? Okay, so it's paused. 17, 14, 32. Boom. Take that! The thing that's strange about this video has got to be this. Officer Meekins. Sir, do you mean me, sir? Yes, unfortunately. As I understand... I'm not the only one hearing that, right? Is that music supposed to be playing right now? are we not? As I understand it, the locker apparatus works like this. When you grab the handle, a sensor reads your fingerprint. If it's a match, the light turns on and the lock is released. According to my very limited experience, that's the way I understand it, sir. If so, then something is seriously wrong with this picture. Yeah, are we... Can I skip this? Oh my god, this is annoying. When the victim reaches for the handle to open the locker, let's rewind to a little earlier. You don't have to do that. Why? Grab some popcorn, y'all. We're gonna be here a while. Here, notice the light? What's this? It's already lit. Precisely my point, Your Honor. The locker was already open before the victim grabbed the handle. Jesus Christ. You don't need to freak out like that. Order, what's the meaning of this? It means the locker was already unlocked and it doesn't have to be Goodman in the video. Is it that hard to figure out for yourself, Your Honor? It's very simple, Your Honor. The locker wasn't locked on the day of the crime. But the locker locks are controlled by an electronic system. When the door is shut, a sensor is triggered, and the locker is automatically locked. Yeah, well, you want to argue with the light in the video, Mr. Edgeworth? You gonna say, oh, there was a bug in this system and the light just happened to be on when the door was actually locked? Are you gonna try and pull that out of your ass? Oh, I know, it must have broken down. Of course, I'm not an expert in this. That's not likely, Your Honor. The sensor would detect and report any malfunction. Oh, well, it just goes to show novices should keep their mouths shut. So then, Mr. Wright, do you have an explanation? Me, Your Honor? Yes, why wasn't the locker locked? Me, Your Honor? Yes, well, you see, this isn't exactly my field. What do you think, Miss Scientific Investigator? Huh? Oh, maybe something like jammed the system sensor? Something jammed the sensor? Say, there's something else that seems out of place in this video. Yeah, I thought so too. There's gotta be another clue somewhere in this footage. There is. Very well, let's inspect the video once more. The locker wasn't locked. Mr. Wright, please point out the cause for this. Okay, 43. Please tell me that counted. Please watch closely. This is the continuation of the part I showed you earlier. You don't have to do this. You don't have to do this. I hope you grab some popcorn. Because apparently they're intent on making this drag out as long as humanly possible. What's this? Something white fell out of the locker. But sir, it's been my experience that things fall out when doors are opened. I often fall out and fall great distances when I open my car doors, sir. Fucking relevant. We can't be sure that item was completely inside the locker to begin with. What do you mean? The sensor triggers the lock when the door is shut. What if something was inserted, say, between the sensor and the door? Inserted? Oh my fucking god, you don't have to do this every time. You don't. You really don't. There's no need for this. We get it. We've seen this 3 times already. Maybe even more. Just stop. Just stop. This white thing wasn't inside the locker. It was stuck between the door and the sensor. I understand now, sir. It's just like my tie. 2 out of 3 times I get stuck in the door when I get out of my patrol vehicle, sir. I don't care. Shut up. So the door closing my tie choke, but the object would have to be extremely thin to fit in the door. Not only that, it would also have to block electrical currents. It would need to be an insulator. Yes, an insulator. But at the crime scene, there just might have been something that fits the description. But sir, by insulator, you don't mean... I think I finally got this figured out. Very well. Will the defense please present the relevant evidence? What was this insulator that was stuck in the locker door? Is this, glove over here? Your Honor. I found this near the locker. A thin rubber glove. But we can't be sure that it was in the victim's locker. It has a tag that says SL9 incident. The video seems to depict the victim opening the locker, but that isn't the case. The lit lamp attests to this. On the day of the crime, even I could have opened that locker. Is this not so, Officer Meekins? Sir, it would appear so, sir. I feel like I'm probably the only person who really fucking hates Meekins. Like, just absolutely despises him. Order, order, order! So are we to believe, then, that the victim, whom this witness stabbed in the evidence room, yeah, he didn't stab anybody, was not Detective Goodman? Objection! Do not be misled, Your Honor. What do you mean, Mr. Edgeworth? The defense has merely demonstrated that possibility and nothing more. The victim in the video was indeed Bruce Goodman. The prosecution will offer one more testimony to prove this. What? Officer Meekins, please testify about this. Sir, me, sir. I'm not sure what you're referring to, sir. Oh, you mean that, sir? Of course, sir. God. Is this a joke? No, unfortunately. Unfortunately, it's not a joke. Very well, begin your testimony. Okay, alright, let's do this. Sorry, I swear I do enjoy this game, it's just... Meekins is very irritating. There's one other thing that proves the man was Detective Goodman, sir. To enter the evidence room, one must use their ID card. Sorry. When an ID card is used, there's a record of it. At the time of the crime, the detective had used his card. That is true, although anyone could steal an ID card. An ID card record, I see. I have the ID card record right here, Your Honor. Yes, that's the same one we've been referring to. Are we ever going to figure out who lucky number 7 is over there? Who entered at 4:20 p.m.? Haha. Blaze it. The ID used at 5:14 is that of the victim. But how could his ID card have been used at 5:14 when he died at 5:15 in the parking lot and his card was found at that scene? Riddle me that! Anyone want to explain that? Just before the crime, Yes, without a doubt this is the victim's ID. However, one thing does strike me as unusual. Several hundred cases should have been due for transferal. Why were there so few people using this room? This particular evidence room is only used for storing certain special cases. Special cases? Extremely violent cases involving police staff. Just hearing that makes my hair stand on end. Me too, it doesn't make much of a difference. There were only a few cases up for transferal there, and most were cleared up by noon. Right, I see. Now let's move on to the cross-examination. Okay, well, let's find out what's wrong here. That's incorrect. How is it incorrect? Well, this. He was writing a lost item report. Objection! You fucking idiot. Wait one moment, Officer Meekins. I'm not good at waiting, sir. Clearly. I have the... voice cracked. I have the victim's ID card right here. I found it at the crime scene. That makes sense. When I say crime scene, I'm not referring to the evidence room at the police department. I mean the other crime scene. The underground parking lot at the prosecutor's office. Your Honor, I have one more piece of evidence to present. It's a very important clue regarding the victim's ID card. A lost item report. It's only half completed. But but it shows that Detective Goodman had lost something on the day of the crime. Something important enough to fill out this report. Let me guess, you believe this something to be his ID card, right? I can't say for sure, but there is a high probability. On the day of the crime, Detective Goodman was not carrying his card. Order, order. So now, what does this all mean? Your Honor, can you not think for yourself? He didn't have his card, therefore he could not have entered the evidence room. It can only mean one thing. It doesn't even require much thought. The man Officer Meekins encountered in the evidence room was not Detective Goodman, but rather the man who stole his ID card. It still doesn't solve the issue of how his card later ended up at the prosecutor's office parking lot. That is still an issue. Order, order, order. Does the prosecution have a response? Probably. When does he not? I have only one thing to say to the defense. Bravo, Mr. Wright. Bravo. Allow me to summarize the defense's argument. At 5:15 p.m. on the day of the crime... Oh, yeah, now we just opened the possibility that... Yeah. Okay, I see what he means. We just clarified it was not Goodman that was killed, quote-unquote, in the evidence room. We essentially kind of have dug a bit of a hole for Lana. The man in the evidence room Officer Meekins encountered was not Detective Goodman. There are two grounds to support this. First, the locker in the evidence room was already unlocked. Second, the victim lost his ID card. Am I correct so far, Mr. Wright? Yes. What's he up to? Just think about it, Phoenix. If Goodman was not in the evidence room, where did he have to be? That's right. Getting stabbed by Lana in the prosecutor's office parking lot. That's unfortunate. That being the case, we must inevitably arrive at a single conclusion. If the victim in this video is a fake, then the murder in the evidence room is also fake. In other words, the security camera does not show the instant of the murder. That is... well, I guess that's right. I think it's starting to click. Is something wrong, Mr. Wright? Only moments ago you seemed content to be pointing your finger around. This isn't gonna end well. Well. It seems you finally realized exactly what you've gone to such lengths to prove. Explain yourself, Mr. Edgeworth. The defense has already done the explaining for me. The victim in this video is a fake, which means that murder did not take place at the police department at 5:15 on the day of the crime. So the real crime could only take place at one location, the underground parking lot at the prosecutor's office. The murderer being Miss Lana Skye, the defendant. The evidence is compelling. A trustworthy witness observed the moment the defendant used the murder weapon. Trustworthy? She lied on the witness stand. We've been over this. Yeah, that's definitely not good. It's fine, we'll just bullshit our way out of it. It'll be fine. The testimony was way too shabby. It was all a trap from the beginning. Probably. The activity in the evidence room still leaves many questions unanswered. Who exactly was the victim Officer Meekins encountered, and where did this person disappear to? However, this trial's purpose is to examine only the murder of Detective Goodman. Just so, Your Honor. My head itches. Ouchies. Mr. Wright, you have to do something or else Lana... What do I do? How am I supposed to get myself out of this mess? Object, of course. Objection! Always object when you have the chance. One moment, Your Honor. What now, Mr. Wright? Don't tell me you're objecting to what you've just proven. Of course not. But I almost walked right into the prosecution's trap. What are you talking about? This cross-examination has proven one thing and one thing only. The security video did not show the actual murder. Yeah, okay. Are we really gonna do this? Is this really necessary? So anyway, what can I talk about to buy time while this goes on for way longer than it needs to? However, it cannot be said that it is unrelated to the murder in the parking lot. Specifically, large amounts of blood traces were found in the evidence room. The defense demands further examination into the truth of the matter. Mr. Edgeworth. Yes, Your Honor. If this court were to examine this further, other witnesses will be necessary. Is the prosecution prepared? I'm sorry, Your Honor. The prosecution considered the incident at the police department to be unrelated. We have not prepared any other witnesses for this incident. This just might be my chance. Time to call a certain Texas Ranger to the stand. Mr. Wright, do you mean... Can you read my thoughts? Your Honor, the defense would like to request a specific witness. Oh, whom do you have in mind? Someone we have reason to believe knows the truth. The truth behind the activities that took place in the evidence room. The prosecution requests to hear this person's name before deciding whether or not to comply. Very well then, Mr. Wright. This person whom you would have testify. What is his or her name? It's, Officer Jake Marshall, sir. Take that! Officer Jake Marshall. Why him? I can't let Edgeworth know everything just yet. He's in charge of the evidence room. I feel we should hear what he has to say. The prosecution agrees with the defense's request. Since he was responsible for guarding the room, we should hear his testimony. Fortunately, he works in the police department. We shouldn't need longer than 20 minutes to prepare. Very well. The court will take a 30-minute recess while the witness is subpoenaed. Will the prosecution please prepare the witness during this time? We will, Your Honor. Court is now in recess. Alright. Done a great job so far, I'd say. Sorry, I'm trying to move my laptop so that it doesn't get too hot. And it's not very easy. I hate this chair. It's so uncomfortable. Anyway. There's no stopping you, is there, Mr. Wright? Huh? What do you mean? You called for Jake Marshall. It seems you figured everything out. I haven't figured anything out. I just know his blood-stained fingerprints are at the scene of the crime. Lana, you're the one who knows everything. Emma, you always know everything. Why don't you just tell us? Mr. Wright is trying his hardest to protect you. I don't recall ever asking for his protection. How can you be so cold? Don't you trust us? Don't you trust me? Should I go? Hope I'm not interrupting anything, Bales. Gumshoe! Whoops. I accidentally smacked my controller against the wall. Guess I am. I'll come back later. Oh wait, Detective Gumshoe, what is it? It just slowly fades back in. You got a lot of nerve, pal, make a detective run all around while on duty, and to top it off, you call me here. I've seen happier people at funerals. Sorry, Detective. You better be, pal. Hey. I didn't see you there, Chief Prosecutor Sky. That's okay. So, have you brought what I asked? You mean this, right? My apologies, Detective. Due to my present circumstances, I was forced to use Mr. Wright's name when making my request. My name? Is that legal? Never in a million years would I have thought it was you who asked me. Could I bother you to bring me the SO9 incident files? I'll need them by noon. Talk about crazy. The SO9 incident? But Lana, that's... I thought Mr. Wright might need them, so I had them brought here. Here, you might do well to read them. I can't believe you, the Chief Prosecutor, were a witness in that case. This guy was a witness? Files for the Joe Dark killing, solved 2 years ago. Take it from me, you don't want anything to do with serial murders. Oh, what? Now that I brought you your stuff, you're just gonna ignore me? Emma? But why... Why is your name in here? What? My name's in there? I don't know, unless... No, it couldn't be. Lana, this SO9 incident, is that... That's the classification number the police filed it under. 2 years ago, the rest of the world knew it as... The Joe Dark killings. Joe Dark. No, Lana. That's over with. No. Oh, wait. She ran away. Can I look at these real quick? Alright, closed. Joe Dark, serial murder, sentenced to death. Victims were Edward Jones, Jason Knight, Edith Kirby, Rachel Moss, Jeb Bates, and Neil Marshall. Ooh. Head prosecutor, Miles Edgeworth, witnesses, Alana and Emma. Executive investigators were Gant and Lana, and head investigator Bruce Goodman, and other investigators were Jake and Angel. I see. You know what? I just remembered. I gotta be somewhere. Sorry, pal, but I'm out of here. Alright, see you later. Jake Marshall, Angel Starr, Damon Gant, Miles Edgeworth. Not to mention Lana and Emma. Everyone involved in this case is connected to those killings 2 years ago. This can't be just a coincidence. Knowing you just might be able to figure it out. Time to get back to the trial, Mr. Wright. Best of luck. Better take a good look at this file. I did, don't worry, there's only 4 pages. Alright, to be continued. Sweet. That means I can end the video here. Save your progress up to this point. Yes, please. Save, and then I'll end the video. And next time, we'll get into Trial Ladder. See you then.